How was Easter?
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. We had a good time. Saturday,
Yeah.
we were all there. Most of us were there. We were able to be there and volunteer with the church folk and friends. So it was good.
Yeah.
Good turnout.
It didn't rain on you guys, huh?
No,
Nope.
it was sunny the entire time.
Beautiful day.
I had taken off my shirt because I was like, bro, it's getting hot.
Oh, dang, I wish I was there.
But yeah, for these last several years, I've really been looking forward to our Easter events.
Yeah.
that we do, the whole community event and everything that we have set up at church service and everything. Like, I feel like everyone really gets together.
Yeah.
During that time to make it work, and it's just some really fun, enjoyable memories for sure.
Agreed.
But is it fun for you because you get to DJ?
I know, he's like
yeah,
the
that's
official
part of
DJ
it.
Come
now,
on,
right?
dude. That's it. That's
He's
the
the
reason
official
why.
DJ.
So it was like, boop, boop.
Yeah, he's out there
L.E.A..
mixing.
No 1 2s.
Jeez.
Yeah. No, yeah. Because that's how I started my DJ career, basically.
Yeah.
One time they just, because our boy Frankie, he would DJ, and just one year he couldn't. And they had just told me to curate a playlist for Easter. And they were just going to play it from the phone. And I'm like, shoot, no, we can do better than that. And I remember that in the back where they have all the sound equipment and everything, I had seen a mixer there, a table. And I was like, let me just use that. Like, I'm sure I can find the charger for it. And yeah, I found the charger, plugged it in, and it worked. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'll just play from here. I didn't know how to DJ or anything yet, right? I was just making like the most basic, simplest transition, just moving the volume
Fader,
faders, and that's it, right? So then that's how I started with that old beat up turntable.
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Oh, what, you DJ?" And then they started, hitting me up for like their birthdays and stuff.
What?
And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll do it." Like, I love music, right?
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, and I bought my own turntable, and then looking to buy some speakers. But yeah, man, I look forward to it.
Bro, that's solid. That's
Yeah,
dope.
and now,
Where you got
yeah,
into
no,
that?
and I know all these like transitions in the lingo now and stuff. So like, I definitely have a better understanding of the basics and the foundation for it. And I think that's something I'm going to continue pursuing, because I love music, right? Whether I'm playing the keys or like DJing and stuff. Yeah, how was Easter for you guys? How was it with the family? You guys do anything after Easter service?
Yeah, well, we host every year. So my whole in-law family comes over. And I was supposed to cook, and I can't, and I changed my mind twice because like I don't feel like cooking, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna get takeout.
Yeah.
And then that's all I did. And we just chilled. And then we also celebrated my my mother-in-law's birthday, which was the week before Easter. So it was a 2-for-1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Some cake at the end of the day. So
Yeah, on the way home, I saw like a bunch of people set up at the park, right? Because we're right here.
Dude.
And I was like, man, everyone's grilling right now. And I really wanted to grill, but that same thing. We got home and we're like, let's go get sushi. But I really wanted like some steak on the grill. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Jim?
We just chilled. We went to like 4 different restaurants because everybody
dang.
was closed.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we ended up at Jake's Pizza.
Nice.
Yeah, we got there and then spent some time with the family bowling. So that was fun. Had my parents out there, and it was a good time.
So I was just kind of scrolling, through the X Twitter videos.
It's all called X now.
I was like, wait a minute, dude, where are we going with that? Wrong podcast.
No,
wrong podcast.
Just be glad he didn't say triple before, right? We're good. We're good.
Walked in on that one. But
You opened the door, bro. We just walked through it.
one of the fears that I have is going under, like, if they give you medicine, like you're gonna get a surgery, and you just go, they put you on meds and you fall asleep, right? And then you wake up and then you're just heavily drugged and you don't know what the heck you're gonna say. Like, I've seen so many videos,
So many
of that
hilarious
happening. I'm like,
videos.
man, like, I don't want to embarrass myself or say something that I've been holding on for like the longest time, and then it just spews out. But that's actually like a pretty big,
legitimate fear.
Legitimate fear. I'm like, dang, like thankfully, thank God I mean, I've been active playing sports and stuff, but yes, I haven't broken any bones or anything.
Yeah.
I haven't needed any surgery or not, so that's good. But I always think about that. I'm like, oh man, no, my hammy went off and they're going to have to drug me up. And
I mean, balling out the way you've been balling, bro. I don't know.
I know. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's something as simple as even your wisdom teeth being taken out.
Yeah,
Like I've seen those videos. Like those kids are just saying the wildest stuff,
Yeah.
dude.
Truly.
To all the assistants, I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
he means that.
Yeah.
He means that. It makes you wonder, like, would they, like, is that real feelings that are suppressed, normally, or are those like just, no, I'm not in my right mind.
That's actually a good question. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sober thoughts?
somebody actually that has gone through it
Yeah.
and like asking them, like, hey, what, like watching the video with them, like, is this how you really feel? And they're like, no. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was possessed.
Right. Right. Someone needed to strap me up and put me away, right?
Yeah.
Or at least my mouth.
Yeah, but I think that's the natural reaction from everyone right after like they see like how violent they were, right?
Yeah.
And they just feel embarrassed, like, no, what? Like I said that, like I would never, But I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like you guys fear like being drugged up and then waking up and not knowing where you are, what you're saying.
I fear it not even being drugged up, dude. Sometimes my mind is way faster than way slower than my mouth.
Yeah.
So like I say things sometimes. I'm like, oh, that should have stayed in my head.
Yeah.
With or without drugs.
With or without drugs. Like, yeah. Wait, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
That's how I feel sometimes.
Well, I feel like I've somewhat, maybe not roofied, but in a way been like kind of roofied.
Drugged.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
I want to say it was twice, maybe. That's why I was kind of like, it was, I don't know what it was, but I remember
That's scary.
having a drink, and then maybe after the second drink, like I kind of just blacked out.
By the way, I wasn't there. Just saying.
Not the
putting
first
that-
time.
just putting-
The second time, maybe.
Yeah.
When I heard it was successful, I was like,
What they were telling me I was doing wouldn't be something that I would naturally do. It's not something that I like. How they described me being was not who I truly am in heart, and that scared me because I was like, I couldn't believe what they were telling me.
yeah,
And yeah, I'll have to say it offline, but
For sure.
it was bad.
Why?
Dang.
Why?
Patreon.
Yeah.
There's probably a video out there. This guy was trending. We didn't know it was him.
Dude, there probably is videos, bro.
Yeah.
I know I got some, but
Yeah.
yeah, not anywhere where it can be accessed for me.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think growing up, I'm sure you guys have heard this, but in our Latino culture, sometimes our parents or tíos, they would say que solo los niños y los borrachos dicen la verdad. Only kids and drunk people tell the truth.
Speak the truth,
Yeah,
right?
speak the truth. Did you guys ever hear that growing up?
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how true that is, though. I mean, the kids, yeah. But then also kids also will say something that, like, with this truth, but it's maybe something they've seen.
Yeah.
Not like...
Or they're repeating because,
Right.
someone close to them.
Yeah, so it's like it's truth what they're saying, but it's not so much of that it happened to them or it's happening to them, but just kind of like something that they repeated. But as an adult, I don't know. Sometimes I would assume that, I don't know, being drunk is
An excuse.
yeah.
It's an excuse.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you feel that way.
Yeah.
Say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying?
With your chest.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been witness to that. Like, I had, family members, quote unquote, speak their mind even without being intoxicated. At least
Exactly.
I think I would
Right.
feel a little bit better if they were intoxicated. He was
Right.
like, oh, you know what? They were drunk. They didn't mean it. Wait, he wasn't drunk?
Yeah.
He really thinks that of me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
like, so a little bit harder to swallow. But you think about that, man. What if we all did that, though? Because sometimes you experience that and then you're like, man, but, either you're just being the better person at the moment or you were just thrown off because of the comments that you didn't say anything back. But what if we all did that? It'd be a crazy world for sure if we all just spoke the first words that popped into our mind about any particular situation or person, you know, right?
Yeah.
It would be there'd probably be some good times and some really, really bad times.
Right.
If we all
More
did
bad
that.
times.
Right.
Mostly,
Definitely
yeah.
I think the percentage of bad times would be a lot higher for sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times you go off emotion, right? It's not really something that you actually put together,
Yeah.
you know, thought about. You're just in the moment, right? And then after, how many times have we reacted and then, you know,
Oh, man.
10 seconds later, like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Like, I
For
didn't
real.
really mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now you're trying to backpedal.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, sometimes you start digging yourself a bigger hole instead of just shutting up.
Right.
You know?
Or the worst, vice versa, where you're on your way back home and whatever, you're like, damn, I should have said this, man.
Oh, yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
I should have said it like this.
Yeah.
You know, I missed my chance. You know, and in your head, you're saying it to them. It's
Yeah.
like, damn, man,
That's
I had the
also
chance.
true.
You know,
Like
that's-
while I was there, the door was
Exactly.
open. I should have walked through it with everything I had.
God.
Instead, you partially commit and you give a little something, but then you're like, bro, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Like
could've-
the door was open, you're still out here ringing the doorbell.
Yeah.
Or you're just stuck. Dude, that's the worst. I think it's like I've been in situations where I was more stuck than anything, and then I'm driving home and I'm like, oh, I have rage because I'm like, you know, walking through the whole thing that happened, and I'm like, dude, I should have said this, or I should have, you know, done this. And yeah, the whole time I'm just kicking myself, and I'm like, that was the biggest regret I ever had.
Yeah.
But then also, it could have saved me from something worse happening.
yeah, it could have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's worse though when you plan a whole speech in your head, and then when the moment comes, you're like,
Right.
man, that's
Right.
the worst, dude.
It was this huge, beautiful, you know, rebuttal that you
Yeah.
had
Mhm.
all planned out, and then what came out was like, you know,
Right.
That's it.
God.
There's a lot of us, especially if there's like arguing going on,
Mhm.
especially in that situation, we tend to lean more towards listening to respond rather than
Yeah.
listening to listen, to
Exactly.
hear what they're saying, you know? So if you're saying something in it because I don't agree with what you're saying, as soon as you're done saying what you have to say, I didn't really hear you. I'm just waiting to just say what I got to say next, you know?
What would the world look like if we all just said what was in our mind?
I mean, there's different cultures out there who already do that.
Yeah,
You know?
ones?
I mean, I'm not gonna call any specifically,
And
but it's like, damn, set me up over here, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, but like for Latinos, I guess, a lot of them, you know, they, you know, the little toxico comes out in them too, and they like, you know,
Yeah.
say things
A
without
lot of toxic.
without thinking. You know, I think a lot of the times is that they say certain things without knowing I don't want to say the consequence, but like the effect it's gonna have on another person, right? And I think it even starts young, dude. You know, it's like
the way you're raised.
yeah, and like you know how they have those like little nicknames they give kids and stuff like that. It's like
Yeah.
hey, I know he's a little chubby, you know, but don't
Yeah.
call him gordo
Yeah.
because you like,
Yeah.
Oh, that was me all day.
you know what I mean? But
all,
it's like,
all my Latino uncles, they were like, "Hey, gordo."
Yeah.
you know, and
O
so
te estás poniendo like, bro, I get it, bro. That's the 498th time you've said that, Theo. I get it. Like,
You're like, te estás poniendo gordo, and over here the taquiza giving you
literally, bro.
that's the thing that te estás poniendo
Con
gordo.
doble tortilla y todo.
And when you try to tell them, no, not that man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then when you try to start making healthy choices, right,
Yeah.
and you still get criticized for that.
But yeah, I mean, going back to like te estás poniendo gordo, that right there is like already saying things like that just comes to your mind, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, even you know how they like tell girls like, oh, you're el esposo, oh, you're la novia, like things like that are just you're just blurring out things that you don't know how it's gonna affect
Yeah.
that
Right.
person. You know, like you don't know their insecurities.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But so you're saying that they just think about this and then they just
Blur it out.
spit out,
Yeah.
blurt it out, right? Without really not knowing what the consequences are or how people are going to react. But I sometimes think the other way where they do know what they're saying and they do know that reaction that it's going to cause and they still do it because they live for that reaction.
I don't.
Well, I would personally feel like both sides are true.
Yeah.
Like I think
yeah.
there is going to be people who fall in line on both sides of that.
Yeah.
You know, of that truth.
I was gonna say like I don't disagree with that. I don't at all because there are people who live for that.
Yeah. Very
live
true.
for a reaction.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know.
And I say that because if I was, and I know we've talked about this before, toxic sayings, right? Like somebody who's just brutally honest. But if I were to be someone that was just brutally honest and just told it how it is, I think it would leave little space to lie. So I would basically be being truthful or honest, right? At least that's how I think, right? Like if somebody were to tell me something, right? Like I would not have that time to think my way out of the situation and just right away tell the truth and not lie, you know? Because then that also leaves room to like kind of like manipulate, you know? So I think when people say that they are brutally honest, like they are thinking about it. Like this wasn't a thought that just hit them right then and there, but it's been something that was perhaps triggered by a previous memory that they had, and that they're now reacting out of that and are just, you know, blurting it out.
You guys think about what you're gonna say before you say it.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I don't know,
So
Mar.
did you think about that?
Hey, sometimes it's safe because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
accurate for me.
Yeah.
Right. Like I do feel like there are times where I should have probably held back. And I typically don't make it a point, especially now, at this point in life, to be like, oh, I'm going to be offensive to this person. You really have to go beyond the line for me to go there with you. Most of the time, even if you're trying to be a jerk, most people don't have enough value to me to really bother me.
Yeah.
Now, you know, but when I was younger, for sure, it was easy. It was very, very easy. But now, to me, I have to view you with some type of value for what you have to say for that to affect me. But, when I was younger, definitely. I mean, a lot of my uncles knew that. So some of them were there for just to get the reaction because they knew I was going to give it every time because I was just hot. I was just hot headed. And others were almost in a sense worse to me because when you did say something back to them, they would go crying like, "Oh, I don't even know why he got mad."
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I almost respect the ones that were just looking for the reaction a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know? But the other ones I would go crying and they were offended and then they had to make a bigger deal even though they started that. But you know, once you gave them the business, they didn't want nothing.
Right. You want no smoke.
Exactly.
And I think that comes with maturity too, right?
Yeah.
Just being able to bite your tongue a little bit more.
For sure.
And being more considerate for other people. Like, you don't know how someone's gonna feel about a certain way.
Yeah.
My bad. I mean, with you guys, I mean, I'll go buck wild. I don't care.
Oh, we're on a
You know what I'm
different
saying?
level.
But
Exactly.
And that's
tier.
also too because even when we've had some like very serious conversations, we've been a lot slower to react and answer, right?
Valid.
And like when we're in our comfortable space and you know it's more of a joke, we're really quick. And that kind of takes me back on like I guess more on how I balance myself. Like when I'm around like you guys, for example, like I'm gonna be quick to just, you know, throw a joke out, right?
Yeah.
Not even thinking about it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe that was too far, but whatever, we moved on, right? We're laughing
Yeah.
about it. Or we'll laugh about, okay, that was too far. You know, but funny enough, I actually had a good moment with my brother and my sister this week, and we just sat down and talked for hours, right? And it actually reminded me of my upbringing, of why I became really slow at responding. And they were the ones that put that root in me because I had what you would call the little brother syndrome, right? You know, I'm the youngest one, right? But I would always be quick to say something and it's just like, you know, in passing or whatever. The snapping
The
fingers,
snap.
things like that. But I really believe that they too were very patient with me, but it helped me bring up this, you know, this skill, I guess, of being quiet and listening, right? And the Bible talks about that. Like, don't be so quick to answer, right? And I've always been one to try to push, like, dude, be one to quick to listen, you know? And one, you could learn something, but two, like, analyze, because you might have an opinion, you might think a certain way, but my sister said something and my brother replied to her. And like, I felt like I went back to, you know, 20 years ago where I'm sitting there and learning from them in the sense of being quick to listen and not answer, because I was already making my opinion with my sister. But when I heard my brother, I was like, man, that's wise.
Yeah.
You know, that's wisdom.
Yep.
You know, and I'm like, dang, like this is where I like why I think the way I do. You know, and that's why I take time to respond. You know, and then and it took me to another place where I don't know. We've all been around like people that are book smart, right? Like they're educated, you know, and well rounded, right? And you hear them when it talks about education or whatever topic you're on, man, they know what they're saying, right? Off the bat. But then you get them to talk about life, and you're just like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. Look at my brother and my sister, not educated, but they've experienced life, and you know they've built life around them. So I'm like, they might not be book smart, right? But man, do they have wisdom, you know? And that's where it's like it's helped me be able to sit back and be like, don't be quick to answer. Sometimes, you know, I react a certain way. I am that person where I'm like, dang, like I shouldn't have said that, you know? So I'm still learning to not be that way, but most of the time I am really quiet, but not because I'm not involved, but I really want to be able to take in the information and be able to respond back.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's literally the definition of wisdom, right? Taking everything from your understanding of experiences or stories and then applying them now in your life, right? So that's really good, man.
And that you nailed it for me on like having a perspective or something to say on a particular subject, whatever it is, and then quite literally changing my mind while you guys are pointing out your point of view. And I was just like it's happened. It's happened on a few things that you said on other episodes and a few things that you've said for all three of you. I'm like, oh, I didn't actually think of it that way. But it was so funny because up until you guys said something, I was convinced, no, this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like this is the answer to this situation. And then you spoke and I was like, oh, actually, no, that's a better way of thinking about this. And I immediately, I'm changing it to think like this now. But you also have to be there, right? You have to be willing to be like, no, this is a better way. When
That's good. You have to be willing to.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. You have to be willing to grow and learn. You know, you can't just stay in your stubborn ways.
For sure.
Like that.
But I think it's important though that you do have those convictions, right? Because that's what gives you perhaps purpose and passion in life. Like no, this is the hill I'm willing to die on, and I'm gonna take it to the grave, perhaps, right? You have that going for yourself, but it's also important to kind of leave some room to grow, right? To grow, to perhaps either add to that conviction that you have or change the trajectory of it because you found a better road for yourself and your peers.
Yeah, that's good, bro.
I mean, don't get me wrong though. I mean, I'll still die on some hills. You know what I'm saying?
Dying on all the hills, boy.
You know,
Like he ain't ever going swimming in the ocean.
I don't care
No matter
what
how many
scenario you give
stand
me,
on
dude. I don't know how many photos you give me. I'm not going in there.
What
You
about
know?
money? What if it's like a box full of $2 million cash
Don't care.
just for 5 minutes of swimming in the ocean?
5 minutes. You know how long 5 minutes is? Damn. It's a whole freaking MMA round, dude. It's so long. I mean, yeah, and that's me being real too. You know, there's certain things that I'm very I don't want to say stuck on, but that's just my preference.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I obviously also value other people's opinions and preferences, and I'm always willing to listen, but sometimes it is what it is.
We're also individuals, and we we're gonna have certain things. But as like if your way of thinking or processing something or viewing something doesn't hurt people, then at the end of the day, it's fine.
And I think if it's a healthy way to conversate too, right? I mean, if you go back to the topic of saying what we feel or like what comes to our mind, like it's healthy to have those type of conversations, but keeping it, obviously, respectful, right?
Yeah.
With you guys, that word doesn't even exist. I don't know why I said that.
respect,
God.
wisdom. Yeah, right.
But like for real though, like sometimes we say what we mean at that moment, but like
Right.
I like that because it challenges each other's views and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I do feel bullied though by you guys.
So, what do you guys think are some acceptable scenarios or situations where it's okay to speak your mind and to stand up for yourself, basically?
I think if it involves your family, let's say wife, kids, and then it's like defending them, against something or a situation, I think it's more than acceptable to speak your mind, however you feel.
Yeah.
To me, that's my line right there. Like, I mean, even I would say, like, even getting physical, that's my line right there.
Yeah.
So, the words ain't gonna do nothing, but my fists are. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like that. That for me, that's acceptable. Personally.
Not turning the other cheek.
If it involves my kids, you can say all you want to say to me. I don't care. But like, if it's my kids or wife, like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's good to. When is there that time to actually say how you feel? But like, it'd be good for you to take that moment and think about before you say it. Think about the consequences. You could think about how this may not just impact them that you're saying it to, but those around you. It could also affect you at the end of the day. But I think at the end you should say how you feel, especially in like a heat of a moment or something like that. But I also think that there's times that there's just no reason for people to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times it's hard for people, even if it's something good and it might help in that situation, but maybe just not at that moment.
Yeah.
And you could still speak your mind, just maybe not at that time.
Exactly.
Because the timing could be horrible.
Yep.
It was great advice, and maybe it was something that you should have said, but just not at that time, because that person may have not been prepared to receive what you had to say.
That's really good. That reminds me perfectly of like situations with my wife where let's say I like she says something that was, or vice versa, we say something like that's incorrect, and then you go in and correct right away, right? Or you point out the flaw, but you do it in a social situation where there's other people involved and they hear you and they see you say that and correct it, right? And perhaps you think you were right, like yeah, no, like this is correct, what I'm saying is correct, you had it wrong. But now they feel embarrassed,
right,
perhaps because that wasn't the right moment for you to step in, right, and show that you know it all, basically, right? Like you could have just allowed it to happen. And that's something that I've worked on a lot, is trying not to just point out all the flaws, especially with my wife, right? But after the situation has happened, right, when I'm perhaps more calm, and she is in the right headspace as well, and it's a safe environment for both of us to talk about it, then I can bring it up then and there, right?
Yeah.
But if times where sometimes just things just happen, you're like, oh no, that's wrong right away, right? And one thing that I do, or that I know that annoys her sometimes, just a tick that I have, is that when we're watching movies and she's like, oh, is that the actor that played in this movie? And I'm like, no. Right? Just quick to dismiss. I'm like, no, that's not it. Right? Or just saying no. Yeah. Like to her, like that's my favorite word. No. Yeah. Like no. And then literally 5 seconds, 10 seconds later, I'm like, oh snap. Yeah, you're right, baby. But it's like, why am I just so quick to just dismiss?
Because you want to watch the movie. That's why.
She was talking during the movie. No, you did the right thing, bro. No cuts that conversation off and allows you to keep watching the movie. Just same reason headlock. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Smart talking.
That's wisdom.
No filter.
That's real Mar right
This
here.
is him speaking what's on his
Yeah,
mind.
exactly.
Sure.
All those reels Mar. That ain't Mar, dude. This is Mar right here.
Yeah. No, and I agree, like that's true. But I agree, like what you were saying, like I think every one of us here at the table draws that line with our family members, our loved ones, our wives and our kids for sure. I would tolerate, you can tolerate even way more, right? Someone's cussing me out and be like, whatever, bro. But then you direct it at one of my loved one, I'll still have a fuse for it, but it's going to be a lot shorter. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a lot shorter. And then, of course, if you want to not even worry about if you go beyond that, then it's okay. It's a wraps, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of us would cut people off there, or cut people in general.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes with the saying, time and a place, right?
Yeah.
with everything. And so
I do think
mean,
there are so many situations or avenues, like in thinking about this and like speaking your mind. I think there are situations where, yeah, you absolutely need to just avoid it or not do it, not go there, because one, the person may not even care, because there's some people you can tell them their truth and they're going to be like, meh.
Oscar.
Right. and then there's and it doesn't matter, right? Like you're just wasting your time trying to tell them what. And so and then other times this person needs to hear it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, like someone needs to tell them that no, you don't, your poop don't smell like flowers, bro. You know? I'm sorry. And I'm going to let you know that because no one else is doing it. And even if it doesn't change anything, I'm still going to let you know where I stand on it. And I'm going to let you know, that I'm the line that you can't cross. You can cross that line with that person. You can cross the line with that person. Not here.
Yeah.
And I'll put that out there for that person to know. But if you want to, you ain't going to have to worry about the smoke, bro. You're going to have to worry about these hands.
Yeah.
and that's a great example though, because some people do need to hear it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe because they've never heard it before, and maybe by you saying that to that person, then maybe that'll change their perspective.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like I didn't know
Yeah.
people felt like that about me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, people do. Oh, my bad. Like,
Yeah.
and that's how change happens, right?
Like they were doing that because they thought it was acceptable. Because
Exactly.
nobody else was perhaps telling them anything, right?
Exactly.
But that's when you come in and you establish your boundaries and you say,
Yeah.
no, it's not gonna ride with me, right?
And that's a great way of speaking your mind, because it's obviously you're speaking your mind for yourself. So you release some, I guess, I don't want to say tension, but like you
Yeah.
release,
Stress or
some stress, or like just like that moment, like you release some feelings or whatever. But then that person also is gonna get affected. Like, oh, damn, I didn't know Mark felt like that.
And I've been in rooms where I've done that. I've literally done that. And then there was other people that are like, bro, like I've been like, this person has been a jerk to me for so long. I've never said anything, but thank you for saying it. And it kind of gave that, it made them, they got relief because they were like, dude, finally somebody said something,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
It's like, this guy just did it for all of us, you know?
Yeah.
and I think that is what ties in with like when you're speaking from your mind, right? Or just the thoughts that come to your mind, that you're doing it in a way to build up others, not tear others
Right.
down, right? Because right now we see it like a lot in social media where the left or the right are just attacking each other, and they're speaking truths, right? They're saying like, no, they're facts, right? We're speaking the truth, but both sides are getting triggered, right? And then it just becomes a whole just war online between like, you said this and I said that, and you're offending me, and vice versa and everything, and it just goes back and forth. But that was not delivered in a way, like I said, to build people up, but it was deliberate to hurt someone.
For
right?
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where it also ties in like your delivery too, because you might have something very good and that person needs to hear it, but you could deliver it in a horrible way and they're just not going to be able to receive it.
Yeah. Delivery is important, right? Because it can either be uplifting or very offensive.
Has it ever happened to you guys where you tell someone something and they just completely goes over their head and they don't think about it, and then someone comes along and tells them the exact same thing that you said, and it's like, oh, I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me this?
Yeah, they're called kids. Yeah. So very often.
Because they don't want to hear it from us.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you might be telling them something good, they're just not ready to hear it from you. And that's where I say, like, it's good to have surrounding people that think like you, because you might not be able to reach your kid or your dad or your mom, but that surrounding person might be able to invest that seed into them, the same seed you were trying to, because, you are like-minded.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that's why they say it takes a village to raise a kid.
Something that me and my wife discuss a lot is because sometimes there is some pride, right? Like you wanting to be that person to tell them something and have them change their ways, right?
Yeah.
Like that you started something and that you ignited something, like you said, put a seed and begin to water and sprout from there, right? But how me and my wife like to think sometimes is just like the end goal. Like what do we want them to see? What are we trying to achieve? And however it happens, whether it's through me, whether it's through Oscar, through somebody else, maybe it's a TikTok video, maybe it's somebody else, it's just a random person, and then it just hit, and finally now someone like learned something that you've been explaining over and over again, and finally they just realize like, oh shoot. Like you guys were right. They don't give you the acknowledgement.
They'll never give you
They
the
don't give you the acknowledgement, right? But I like to just think of like the angle, like what is it that we're trying to do, right? Because in that, right, perhaps it's me even just biting my tongue and not necessarily saying what I felt like I should have said there, because maybe it wasn't the right time and space, like how you guys were saying. But then another day it just comes up randomly, and then boom, I was able to deliver that.
Yeah.
That's good. I think a lot of parents would benefit from that, or people just in general would benefit from that, being a parent or not, because that rule really applies to everyone, right? Your wife, your friends, your girlfriend. Granted, the relationships are different, but if the people that you care about in your life always have a good result at the end of their life, then whether you try to sow 1,000 good seeds into their life, but only 2 stuck because 100 other people seeds stuck with them too, but they still had the end goal in mind, as you mentioned. Like they still led a good life. They still chose, whatever success looks like in their life, then you're golden. And I would want that for all of you, just like I would want it for my boys, for my wife, for myself, right? My parents, my brothers, other friends, and stuff like that. But it's important to I like that perspective. It's just keeping the end goal in mind, and it's not always going to be what the words that we spoke. That's going to be, oh, that was it. That was the one that put them over the edge. We will. You're right. Like some pride is attached to that. Like, oh yeah, I said it. Not like we're going to be out there saying that, but it feels good
on your way home.
Right.
Yeah, I did that.
At home in the mirror, maybe. You know what I mean?
You did it, bud.
but not on this podcast.
No.
Yeah, no. It's not like I didn't save these 3 or anything.
Oh God.
Going back to the topic of saying what's on your mind, what do you guys think are some people out there in society right now who just kind of just speak their mind?
From my encounter,
Older people.
older people, little kids,
say
because
what's in
most of the time
mind.
they just call it like I see it, right? They see a big person, hey, you're fat, like, and they're not even like like in their little kid mind, they're not even processing, hey, this could potentially be offensive.
Yeah.
They're just calling it like they see it, but they're still speaking their mind, they don't understand that, oh wait, this is offensive.
See, that's kids who don't understand, right? But then there's the old folk who just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they're like, I don't have time to think.
I'm just gonna say what I gotta say
Lose
and
some
then go
weight.
change my diaper. You know what I mean? Like that's how they are.
Or they got to say it before they forget it.
Exactly. So older people now just say whatever the hell they want, dude. That's what it is. Hurtful or not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in Latino culture, like Mexican abuelas, they just te estás poniendo flaco, mijo, or like, te estás poniendo gordo, or like, no te dan de comer. Like, damn, dude.
I know, that's how I saw my grandma. Like, she didn't even have to say anything, right? But just by looking at her and her just touching me, she went straight and touched my belly. And I'm like, I know what you're trying to say, grandma.
Right.
It's my birthday month.
We've talked about the positive aspects of saying what you mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the negative, like there's people who just need to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you know any people, but I know quite a few people who are like, why is your mouth open?
Yeah.
Why are words coming out of your mouth right now?
Yeah.
Do you guys think about that for Kanye?
Kanye, people who are closer to me than Kanye. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes some people just, they don't.
But I think Kanye is the one person that people just kind of let off just because of his music genius, like how musically inclined he is, because he's been saying things left and right,
Just
and
way off the mark.
keeps dropping
right?
albums, and people keep buying
Yeah.
them, right?
He should have been on the list last week.
Well, it also goes like to Trump, right? Like, bro, just do your job, just shut up.
Yeah.
But he likes to speak his mind, so then it's like misinterpreted,
Yeah.
or it's just like, dog, you could have just shut your mouth,
Yeah.
and done your job, and everything would have been gravy. But you had to go and give your opinion, or whatever, and it just made him
But
look bad.
sometimes it's entertaining.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's funny, He called,
but he's not
he
an
called Kim
entertainer.
Jong Un Little Rocket Man. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you're saying going into the negatives,
Yeah.
right? So I think for somebody in a leadership position that holds power, like Trump, whether it's a presidency or Kanye in the music industry, for them to just have no filter or what's coming out of their mouths, it creates chaos.
yes,
It creates chaos because people like to worship. They like to worship something, right? Whether it's music, whether it's a person, whether it's weed or whatever it is. Like people like worshiping something that draws their attention. And if whether it's Trump, Kanye, whoever it is, Andrew Tate, Ryan Garcia recently too, he's been kind of going off rail too. But if they can spark something that you can relate to, like, oh yeah, I'm with it. Like there you have a lifelong supporter, and anytime you attack that person, now it feels like an attack on you.
right.
as well, right? So then you have to be out here defending the person, and then like I said, it just creates chaos. It creates chaos.
It definitely creates chaos for people who are in leadership roles or like they have a platform, right? I think for any regular folk, I think it's the way I see it. Sometimes it's like is it a cry for help? Like, is it a need for attention? Is it like
That's a big
something
part.
you didn't get when you were a child? You didn't get the attention you wanted, so now I'm just gonna say some buck wild stuff just so I can have people look at me and stare at me and like acknowledge me.
Yeah, get the
Right.
likes, the follows,
Exactly.
and then you get the
Attention.
money.
Exactly.
Well, that's where you get a lot of influencers like that are like that, and they need the validation. If they don't see that, whatever they posted, a reel that they've worked on for, 20 hours and it only got, 1,000 views, it's like, oh, what did I do? Am I falling off? They start questioning themselves a lot, but it's because they're looking for that validation.
And then they say that one controversial thing that probably should have never been said, and then
Right.
I'm back. Now I feel like I got my
point.
people back. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad because I feel like this is where this society and next generation is going to go towards. Right? It's the not the need, but the willing to say whatever you need to say to get the attention that you feel like you need.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's sad to even think about, like, for example, like my kids are young. So like now I have to be able to teach them and guide them in a way like, hey, dude, like, like I'm going to give you all the attention you need, or I'm going to, love you the way I need to love you. Like, I don't need you to find that anywhere else and be saying some stuff that's going to get you in trouble,
Yeah.
in jail. I guess in this generation, canceled, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's worse than going to jail.
it is now at this point,
Yeah.
I'd rather be in jail. I get free meals. When I'm canceled, I can't even get paid. I can't get no money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be an uphill battle, I think, for the near future
Yeah.
for people like that.
Yeah, and I think for people like that, because they have an avenue, they have an outlet, which is social media, right? Where you can really just say whatever you want, and then you have to face the consequences of either being canceled or building those supporters that are backing you up.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that they say, I doubt they would say in like an intimate.
Oh, in
setting.
person? No,
person.
absolutely not. Those are what they call them,
Like, where's the camera at? So I can say something controversial,
Yeah.
and now it gives me, more fame.
Which also goes back to, our followers on, sometimes they request certain topics that, we have to be more wise about what we talk about.
Yeah.
Too, right? Because, I mean, there's things that we talk about that we don't put out there for a reason, obviously. And then also be wise about what we do put out.
Exactly.
Sometimes, we're riding along that border, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
For me, like, I'm okay with it being controversial as long as it's something meaningful.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like, if I have a certain perspective of certain point of view and you're trying to convince me otherwise,
Right.
because perhaps it is going to make my life better or start thinking about things better, you know, my future, my family or whatever, then we can get, you know,
Right.
into it. Like those kind of controversial stuff.
Yeah.
But controversial was like, oh yeah, he kissed her and, you know, now it's a love triangle. Like, no. That's why I'm against reality TV shows.
Oh, don't get me started. Let's have a controversial conversation here.
Oh man.
No, I'm just
Se
kidding.
pelean.
No, we won't go there.
Yeah, we've gotten into it.
We've got into it.
But
already.
another episode, you can talk about it. So, final thought, and I'll leave you guys with this. I've been these last couple of weeks, I've been reading on Proverbs, and it's the book of wisdom. That's what it's known as, right? And it says that wisdom is more valuable than any gold and silver that you can have, right? And a proverb that I read that it just really goes along with what we're talking about today. It's Proverbs 17, verse 27 to 28 that says, whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. Right, so this is saying even if someone is just straight up ignorant and stupid, those flaws are disguised by their silence.
You laughing at the stupid part?
Yeah.
It's just you know, like that's when you just gotta stay silent and just know.
Sometimes, you know,
And that's wisdom too,
Exactly.
right? Like just not saying something is also wisdom. If you know it's going to cause more trouble for you and the other person, perhaps.
absolutely. Wisdom is not. It's not just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
saying
Yeah,
something. It's
saying,
not, you know, words is not just all
Mm-hmm.
wisdom. Sometimes keeping quiet is probably the best thing you can probably do to anybody.
And self control.
And self control, I think, is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's a fruit of the spirit, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, there's been a solid talk, fellas.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So
for
you
our
guys-
listeners out there, I would want you guys to speak your mind to us, because give us some things to talk about in the future.
Yeah, this is where speaking your mind is fine,
Exactly.
as long as you're giving us constructive criticism. and
Yeah,
not
if
saying
it's
stuff
not,
like,
then we're turning the
I
comments
hate,
off.
I hate your hat, Jay. You know, like no,
I welcome that. Okay.
no.
But yeah, I mean, from like I said in the beginning, if you guys have any suggestions of where we should go
Yeah.
to do some type, we want to get into the vlog space, and so because I think that's going to be very interactive with you guys. And then I don't know, in the near future, we might, you know, have someone come out with us. We'll treat you guys to something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
that'd
know?
be cool.
for sure.
So
Sounds good. Stay tuned for special guests that may be coming on soon.
Yeah.
See, still gotta book them first. But
there, like, subscribe, and follow.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Hey.